Welcome back, everybody, and anyone who's just new or joining us, welcome. I'm Mike. This is MJ Farmstead. I am on my path to become a commercial beekeeper. So, try to get this a little bit better. We got the HillCo Maxx21 because we're expanding our colonies at quite a rapid rate. What we are doing is we are running deep frame configurations. This was definitely my next step as I progress, compared to a hand crank and a Maxx21 6 and 3. This is a true radial configuration, so it fits 12 deep frames radially as well as 21 mediums, also radial. I'm going to show you guys a little bit what we got going on. I'll get you some up close, and the honey today is very, very dark. So we got honey boxes there, honey boxes that way. We got our hive butler. We're going to go ahead and hit this on. That little click, hit run, and that's going to give us our fan on for the controller. So if you look how they actually put pollen up here first and then decided to stack it up. Oh, it looks like I missed a good spot right there. That's okay, I'll give it back to the bees, they'll be happy. Yeah, there's some spots that actually have pollen in there, but that's okay, because when you get real raw honey, that's what it's all about. So we're going to go ahead and start this up slow. We did get the spring feet for this package. I'm actually going to close this on up, and you could hear it's quite quiet, which I like. So we're at 27 RPMs, and I think you could jog back and forth to like how many hertz or volts it's running. Normally I just keep it on the RPMs just so I know. So we're going to turn it up a little bit more. We get to 60 RPMs. Now, I did my best at loading this. Sometimes it gets a little funny. We should probably get a bucket underneath it real quick too. So let me get that going and I'll show you guys what we got going in a second. Our honey gate is open. We can go ahead and start and slowly crank this thing up. Normally what I do is I will crank it up slowly but surely. Got some paper towels up here for my hand wiping station. And you can see how it's starting to rock a bit, right? Which is not bad. Usually it will equal itself out, especially as we get higher in speed. And I've been using this thing, I think I've used it for 4 or 5 straight days. So what we could do to combat the spinning, we're going to crank up a little bit more. We're at 106 RPMs, and you see now that just balanced it out, right? I'll let it usually run for about a minute or two as I go up incrementally, and when I am done spinning one direction, usually get about like 95% of the way done, I'll jog it and I'll slow it down, stop it, spin it in reverse for a few minutes, and then go back to finish spinning out that other side. But as we progress, it usually gets more and more stable because the honey whips out, everything gets going good. But honestly, you could usually get right up to speed with this thing in a matter of minutes. And you could see we were spinning at 60. 60 does not really do it justice when it's some thick honey. We got about 16%. I think on most of our stuff, a couple of them that are 15. So it is starting to whip. Let me see if I can zoom in on that for you. Yeah, you could see it starting to whip out. Make sure I don't drop my flashlight in there. We're currently at 147. Usually I'll let it whip for a minute or so at a time, like I said, before cranking it. We're going to slowly go up to about 160s, maybe a little bit higher, 180. And she's moving, guys. She's super quiet. Sometimes if it's unbalanced, you can get like a teeny bit of a squeak. But honestly, I washed it out pretty good when I first got it. And I didn't go ahead and put my my food grease back on it. I figured I was going to do that before storing at the end of the season. So 180, we do have a little bit of a wobble again. So like I said, as each minute goes on, it usually balances itself out. And it looks so cool. I'm not sure if it's the frame rate on the camera or not. But let's see. We're going to go up. We're going to crank up to about 200. So she's moving and grooving. I'll show you the honey coming out. This honey from this hive was so dark. It was absolutely beautiful. It's that nice golden, or not golden, but amber color honey. And I don't know exactly how well it's going to show up. We do have a LUT on, if anyone knows about camera stuff. But she's running pretty good. And yeah, I use these stupid screens. They're a pain in the ass. This one actually flops that way. But I usually try not to clean every single one of them. I do have extras in case I need to jump buckets quick and the honey is filling up in there. But this has the slant bottom design. So if you look underneath, it is slanted, and it actually slants to the front here where they welded on the honey gate, which is pretty freaking cool. I'll tell you, for a sideliner that I am, it is definitely worth it to do 20 frames at a time, or 21, or the 12 for the deeps, right? So this gets a little tedious. I have to sit there and hold it as she drains, especially if it's getting, you know, more and more honey spun out. Usually what I've found is I've actually had to back off a bit, especially when I have the deep frames on here. I've had to back it off, usually like if it's not as hot, or if the honey is at a lower moisture like this. Usually I have to back off, and I'll usually just back down the RPMs by about 20 or 30. Let some of that honey flow out. I will state, however, that I still have to tilt this. So to get the honey out, it does like to, for whatever reason, pool up a little bit behind here, maybe like 7 or 8 inches in. It will still pool up. And it's not really a problem, because what I was doing is I was running honey every day, and if I wasn't going to run honey for a day, I would just scrape it all out and then start fresh. But the honey's going to stay good in there. But she's moving and grooving. She's dumping honey right now. Look at that. We're filling this bucket quite quick. Usually what I found is I'll fill up a bucket. It's usually mostly spun out in about 5 to 10 minutes. It will take up to like 15 to 20 to get all that little bit out. But honestly, once you're mostly drained, you could just walk away. Turn that up to full for a few minutes, walk away, come back, jog it, turn it up to full again, not the other direction, and go from there. Let's see if that won't overflow on me. Hopefully not. Usually just squatting down for a couple of minutes, not even that long, and just letting the honey run flat so you have the most surface area going down. It drains fairly quick. And I'll just sit here for a minute or so. I think we're actually going to crank up a little bit to about 250. The max RPMs on this machine is, I believe, 345 RPMs, which rocks and rolls, I'll tell you. Not necessarily like rocking and rolling, but like rock and roll, baby. Let's see. Let's crank her up. Going to full. And it's so quiet. I hope, being right next to the machine with the mic, you guys can hear it and appreciate how quiet this machine is. John at HillCo did a fantastic job at this thing. She's solid, she's smooth, and she doesn't run around the floor, especially with these spring feet. So if you guys are considering getting an electric or motorized extractor, most of these spring feet, it's just a hole, right? So it's just the bolt that goes up, and you screw a bolt on, a couple lock washers, and it's godsend. My other extractor, I have like this little A-frame I made that I could stand on underneath it, and that's a pain in the ass, let me tell you. But the spring feet, it'll fit most extractors, and you just go, it's the yellow, green, or I believe it's red, maybe blue, don't quote me. But he's got 3 separate springs that have just different calibrations and tension. So you could do heavier and heavier loads. So if you had like a 12 frame or a 918 or a 21 or the 33 or 48, you get different springs that'll correspond with the weight that the machine's going to have, as well as the weight of the honey loaded in it. But yeah, she's spinning. 345. I'll show you guys what we got going in another second, just so you can see some of that honey whipping out. But we've only been going at this for about 6 minutes, and our bucket is full up to here. Hopefully, I don't think you can see that. I'm looking up now. We got about 2.5 gallons, 7 minutes in. And this was loaded up with 12 deep frames, so technically speaking, we should have about 72 pounds of honey. I've been finding my average is around 3 pounds per medium and about 6, maybe 6.5 on the deeps. These were all drawn out pretty good. They were second year comb and a 10 frame configuration. I didn't do that 9 frame stuff this year. I find it's just way difficult on the 9 frame configuration when I go ahead and find where it's going to go the next year. Have to keep it in the 9 frames. Sometimes they draw it fatter. I don't feel like ripping the comb out just because I'm super OCD, I guess. And I feel bad ripping comb up. But then you'll get one frame that's really packed out, and you're going to rip it up anyway as you take that frame. And they might not even draw the next one over. So I think I'm just going to be going 10 frame configuration from here on out. Sure, it's a little nicer to cut things off, but I'll figure it out as I progress. I'll definitely keep you guys posted on it. Little pro tip, if you guys do have those screens that tilt, mine, I think I just dropped it one time and it messed up the guides on the side. But if it does tilt, you see my uncapping knife right there, you go ahead and place that underneath it on the bucket. It usually holds pretty damn good. You just got to make sure that you're not flowing too hard out of the gate, that it's gonna sort of just, you know, overflow that way. So that's just one thing you got to make sure of. But it works. We're gonna go ahead and stop it. We're gonna jog to the other way. It slows down pretty quick. I'm assuming there's a break in there. You hear that like cicada sound. I'm not sure if you'll hear it with the microphone that we got on, but so once she stops, there's a button right there that says jog. We're beekeepers. We don't jog, we walk. And if you see us running, well, you know something happened. So you better run too. And we're going to go right back up to full speed real quick. Right when she gets to about 150, she'll balance. She climbs pretty damn fast. Right up. And you'll see it's just like the little bit of the sparkles glistening down. So I'm going to continue spinning this and I'll get back to you guys in a sec. Hope you guys see how slow it is right now. So what I do is I just tilt this whole machine forwards, and you can see there's plenty of honey in there. Usually I'll do that a couple of times as I'm going, just to get that honey out. I don't want it hitting the reel or the spool, whatever you want to call it, because that will actually start to whip the honey. You get bubbles in there, supposedly, that you can never get rid of. But it does slant away. You got about 2 inches of clearance on the back end. Usually this gate is below that back end, so as you're getting full up, it does go. I don't know if the spring feet keep the honey sort of like from coming all the way out, but it just takes a tilt here and there and you can get probably 90% of the honey out. There'll still be a little bit in there. But we are about here now on the bucket, probably about 3.5 gallons, getting on close on 4. But she's moving and grooving. Put my little light down the side, see how we're doing. Oh man, that smells good when you open that up. So we've got it going for a little bit longer just to get all those little sparkles out. I jogged it back again one more time, but honestly, I am loving this extractor. No extractor is going to be perfect. You're always going to have to find the little kinks that you're going to have to work out, but the tilt forward, that's not a big deal. Honestly, the reel is so big I could reach in there with a a silicone spatula, I guess, and just basically scoop everything right to the front. Clean it at the end of the season. You know, I do my season like back to back to back to back. And we already pulled from these frames about 55 and a half pounds. And we got another little bit, maybe, I don't know, another 10 pounds. So I think 65 pounds about overall on 12 frames. Can't complain with that. And of course, it's still dripping some extra little sparkles. So I think that's all I've got, guys, honestly. HillCo, check them out. See if I can get you a good view of that stamp on there. But HillCo, check them out, guys. Hopefully I could drop a link in YouTube. I don't know. If not, HillCo.buzz is the only official HillCo website. Don't trust anyone else that sells HillCo stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys a great beekeeping season. Hopefully you've pulled honey already. Hopefully you've got a lot of honey, or you got honey to come. So wherever you guys are in the world, I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. We love you. And we'll catch y'all on the next one, guys. Take care.